Hello again, I'm Jay Hicks with Gerald Properties and welcome back to Reviving Goolricks. You can tell, once again, we're on a field trip. We're back in Shockoe Bottom visiting with the architects for the project, Goolrick Homes. I ask you to join me as we're honored to be here in their offices today and go take a look at what some of the work they've put together for the interior design. All right, we've made our way into the inner offices of Goolrick Homes, and we've been lucky enough to be able to go into the creative lab here with Leah Stoner, one of their premier interior designers. Thank you, Leah, for having us here at Goolrick Homes today.
Thank you for coming, Jay.
You've brought us into what looks like to be a location where you would do some creative work, putting things together. Obviously, we're looking at a table where things have been put together. Any idea what we're looking at here, just generally?
Yeah, Jay, well, welcome to our lab. This is where the interior design magic happens. As interior designers, it's our job to not only make the space functional and beautiful, but also safe for users. And this is where we make a lot of those decisions. So right now, you're actually seeing every finish you could possibly imagine surrounded in and under these walls. We pull all of those finishes onto our table here where we can look at their durability, how they feel, their longevity, and their color.
For somebody not familiar with the expertise that you are providing with us, I'm a little overwhelmed. So what I hope you could do for me and for us is break this down a little bit. How did your involvement with Goolrick Homes and Goolricks come about, and how has it evolved into the materials we now see on the table?
So at Goolrick Homes, we are a full-service architecture firm that's been around since the 1960s, and we really specialize in historic properties, and we do a lot of hospitality work as well. So we've been lucky enough to work with Gerald Properties on this project, and we're so excited to be here. Before we even begin a design project like this, though, we love to start with the history and the context. We really believe in contextual design here at Goolrick Homes, which means we're not just pulling from the latest trends, we're studying the history of the space, we're studying the building, and from there, we're deciding upon all of these different finishes.
That sounds like a lot of work, but I know that you guys are the ones to do it, and we've been really pleased to be able to work with you to this point. How do these materials relate to the history you found with Goolricks?
So when we begin a project like this, we actually look at a lot of history and precedent images. So things that we were inspired by for the Goolricks building were actually the existing finishes that were uncovered during demolition. So you'll see here we've got some of the existing wall covering that was found, some existing hex tile flooring, and existing tin tile ceilings. We really love celebrating the actual historically appropriate architecture for a space. So once we found these things, we did a little bit of digging. We know that Goolricks is America's oldest operating soda fountain, so we did a deep dive into the building itself, looking at the existing finishes, the exterior architectural details, the streetscape, the surrounding buildings, and then we began studying other soda fountains from what we call the heyday of the lunch counter or the soda fountain time, which is the 1920s and 30s. We found a lot of precedent images, and we noticed a lot of similarities between them. So you'll see here we have most of these lunch counters that have hex tile flooring, just like we found. So that helps us know that we should probably put another hex tile flooring back in here, right?
Sure.
We don't want to change anything that we know works really well. We're seeing a lot of natural woods that are built into small cabinets and shelves to house all those little pharmacy bottles. So we thought, how could we bring that into the space? We're seeing a lot of tin tile ceilings. So through this study and contextual design, we can then come here, pull all these finishes out, and start deciding what goes where. So Jay, on the table today, we're seeing a variety of different finishes that'll go on the floor, on the wall, on the ceilings, that are the metal finishes for the lights or the countertop on the many levels of Goolricks.
Okay.
So we're seeing some possible countertop options, some possible wood finish and wood flooring options, a lot of the upholstery for different chairs and pillows and banquettes. So Jay, like I said, when we first did demolition on this building, we discovered a lot of the existing materials that were underneath kind of the 1950s style diner that was in there before.
Right.
And one of those things that we found was actually the existing hex tile floor.
Now these are ceramic?
These are ceramic, which would be very customary for the time.
Very durable.
Very durable,
Take
easy to
color well.
clean.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right.
It's a perfect fit for a lunch counter, right? Even 100 years later. So then we would take these tiles, the actual tiles from the building, and we'd have to search for a modern-made equivalent, right? And actually, they're still making these the same way that they did 100 years ago. So it was very easy for us to find matching tiles in the same colors that were used the first time that they were installed in Goolrick.
That's some awesome news.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to replicate the floor as we found it as close as we can.
Exactly. We're going to use the historic pattern that was found. We're going to manufacture these as they would have been manufactured in the 1920s and install them just as they would have been installed. You've got a great building on your hands here. We just want to celebrate it and the role that it's played in the community for this time and not take away from it. And that's how we came to decide upon the finishes for Goolrick's.
Now, we're talking about doing two different spaces at Goolrick's. We have the first floor where the soda fountain is going to exist, as it existed before. And on the lower level, we've also committed to creating a workable space, a usable space. Are there any distinctions in what we're looking at for what you're going to bring to those different spaces in Goolrick's?
So we want to design to the function of each space. So we know that the lunch counter level is going to be used during the day, right? So we've got a lot of light, bright finishes, a place that you can go and have your soda, have your milkshake, grab your breakfast during the day. And then most likely the lower level will be used at night. So we have a lot of darker, moodier finishes, intimate gathering spaces, softer finishes, as opposed to our easily cleanable finishes that are going to be on the lunch counter level.
Well, Leah, this is all very exciting to see. Overwhelming, as I said, for me in particular, but I know you're going to bring all this together and we can't wait to see the final product that Goolrick Homes and you, Leah, bring to Goolrick's and help us revive this thing back to its former glory.
Thanks so much, Jay.
Right on. Boy, we've been so blessed with this project to work with people that are such experts in what they do. Leah Stoner and the people at Goolrick Homes are real professionals, as have been all the craftsmen that we get to work with here on this project, reviving Goolrick. So hope you enjoyed this episode, and we've got more to come. So come back and see us again next time on Reviving Goolrick's.
Please follow us on all our socials to stay up to date with the latest happenings.